Welcome to another episode of Pocket Byte, the only podcast where we're going to talk about your financial mess while throwing in a few laughs to keep you from crying. I'm your host, Green Moon, and today we're doing a deep dive into debt. While some debt can be manageable and necessary, other debt can feel like an insurmountable mountain. Whether it's because of an unexpected expense or just not having a clear financial strategy, getting into debt happens, and the good news is that getting out of it is realistically possible. We're not just going to talk about how to manage debt in some boring way. We're going to talk about it in a way that makes sense. When it comes to managing debt, there isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. What works for one person might not work for another. No matter where you are in your financial journey, the key is to have strategy, stay consistent, and not let it overwhelm you to the point of feeling hopeless. First things first, how did we get here? One minute you're living your best life, and the next minute you're buried under student debt, credit card bills, medical bills, and the shiny new Tesla in the driveway. Most debt doesn't just appear overnight. You didn't wake up one day and find out you were suddenly $10,000 in the hole, right? It's the result of bad financial decisions over time. Maybe you went a little too hard with the credit cards, or those student loans hit like a ton of bricks after graduation, or you bought that new car that you thought would make you cool. We've all been there. And if you're in debt, you probably don't need a definition, but let's give you one so we're on the same page. Debt is when you borrow money to buy something you don't have the money for at the moment. And yes, while we think it's a brilliant idea at the time, it's basically the financial version of an IOU note. Now that you've acknowledged your debt, it's time to understand it, that not all debt is created equally. Some types of debt are more urgent or more expensive than others. And understanding this will help you decide where to focus your energy. Having debt isn't the problem. It's when you don't know what you're dealing with that gets you into court. You see, there are good debts like mortgages, or in some cases student loans, and there's been bad debt, which is the kind that keeps you up at night, like credit card debt and that car loan that you probably can't afford. So let's make sure we understand what you owe. Write it down. Until you see it in front of you, it's like trying to figure out how to fix your car. You're not going to have a clue. So step one is to get your ducks in a row about what you owe. So make a list of all your debts: credit card debt, student loans, personal loans, medical bills, car loans, and anything else you owe. And don't even try to hide debt from yourself. It'll only make it worse. But the good news is you're not alone. And more importantly, you don't have to keep letting it get worse. Today, we're going to break down some easy to understand strategies to start turning things around. Okay, now that you've written down everything, let's get clear on what you actually owe and understand it in detail. Not all debt is created equally, and how you tackle it depends on a few key factors. Interest rates. Take a closer look at the interest rates on your debts. Credit card debt often have sky-high interest rates, while student loans or mortgages might have much lower rates. This will help you prioritize your debt paying off strategy. Pay attention to the minimum monthly payment. You might be surprised to see how much you're paying just to keep things afloat each month. Understanding how much you're paying in interest and fees will give you a clear picture of how your debt is growing over time. Due dates. Track the due dates for each payment. Missing payments can lead to late fees, higher interest rates, and more stress, so it's important to stay on top of things. This step is key to gaining control over your financial situation. Once you understand what you owe, you can start to figure out how to pay it down. So now that we've gotten our debt written down, let's talk about interest. That sweet, sweet interest. The thing that makes you think, I'm only $50 behind on this payment. I'm sure that's not a big deal. But then you look and it's $150 because your credit card's interest rate is higher than your GPA. If you never really looked at the interest rates, let me put it this way. Imagine borrowing $100 at an 18% interest rate. It's like borrowing $100 from your friend, then realizing that they're going to charge you $18 every month for the next 3 months for just having the privilege of borrowing that money. And here's the kicker. Compound interest, that thing that sounds like it could be helpful, but not when you're the borrower, it's your worst enemy when you're on the debt side. But hey, no one's judging. We've all been there. That credit card bill you didn't pay off, it's not just sitting there, it's growing, and much faster each day. This is because the annual percentage rate, or APR, which is an interest rate plus any fees associated with the loan, is a complete picture of what you're paying for and is one of the top 3 things you should be looking at in your statements, aside from your balance and minimum payments. There are mainly 3 different types of APR that you will encounter. Fixed APR. This is a fixed rate that stays the same for the life of the loan. If you get a fixed rate mortgage or a car loan, your APR will stay steady, so you know what to expect for your monthly payments. Variable APR. Variable APRs change over time, usually based on an underlying benchmark, like a prime interest rate or the federal funds rate. So if the interest rate goes up, your APR can increase as well, leading to an increased monthly payment. Introductory APRs. Many credit cards offer a low or even 0% APR for an introductory period, which can last for anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. And it's a great deal if you're trying to pay off your balance before the regular APR kicks in. But beware, once the introductory period ends, your APR can skyrocket. Now let's talk about how to deal with this mess. First, let's stop pretending you'll win the lottery. It's not happening for you. It's not going to happen for me. It's time to talk about strategy. You should go with the snowball method or debt avalanche method. The debt snowball method is where you pay off the smallest debt first. Once you knock that one out, you move on to the next one and the next one and so on. It'll give you a little motivational boost. This method is all about momentum. You focus on paying off your smallest debt first, regardless of the interest rate, but it might cost you a bit more in the long term. The debt avalanche method. This one's for the finance bros and accountants out there. You start by paying off the debt with the highest interest rate first. It saves you more money over time. It's like picking your worst enemy and dealing with them immediately. Start looking at your lifestyle habits. Yes, little things do add up. Does your gym membership cost $80 a month, but you go once every 2 weeks? Time to put it on the chopping block and watch how much extra cash you can redirect into paying down debt. Let's talk about making debt work for you. This isn't about taking on a second job delivering pizzas. We're talking about turning your side hustle into a get out of debt card. One of the fastest ways to get out of debt is by increasing your income. If you're already on a tight budget and it still might feel like you're not making progress, it might be time to look for a way to boost your income. Here's what I'm saying. Start a side gig that directly contributes to paying off your debt. Not a gig where you can blow off the extra cash on impulsive buys. It can be as simple as freelancing or offering your skills on platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, selling items you no longer need, taking on a part-time job or gig work, offering tutoring, babysitting, dog walking services. But make sure to put every penny from that extra income into repaying off debt. Even an extra $200 to $500 a month can make a huge difference in how quickly you can knock out your debt. It might also turn into something you can scale up in the long term. Now, you've probably heard of debt consolidation. You take multiple loans or credit cards, combine them into one, and ideally at a lower interest rate. You'll definitely have to do more research and contact a professional for this, but here's the general idea. If you have multiple debts, consolidation might be an option worth looking into. Debt consolidation involves combining several debts into one loan or credit line, usually with a lower interest rate. This can help simplify your payments by giving you just one bill to manage. Plus, there are some companies that offer promotional APRs for the first year that you can take advantage of. Plus, after the promotional period, you might be able to secure a lower interest rate. Refinancing works similar and can be an option for those things like student loans, car loans, or mortgages. It involves replacing your current loan with a new one and hopefully at a lower interest rate. While consolidation and refinancing might sound tempting, make sure to read the fine print. Some loans come out with fees or longer terms that could end up costing you more in the long run. Alright, this one's going to sound a little strange, but hear me out. Have you ever considered starting a debt support group? I'm not talking about a support group where you sit around and crying about your student loans. Find a group of like-minded friends, family, or even coworkers, and agree to check in regularly on your debt repayment progress. Make it fun, make it competitive, but make it happen. Whether you're meeting for a monthly brunch or setting up a group chat, having people to hold you accountable and talk with about your debt can be a game changer. You'll feel like you're not in it alone. Plus, you can share tips and tricks and even the occasional celebration. If it feels like too much of a commitment to have regular meetings, just start a virtual tracker to compare your progress with your friends. You'd be surprised of how much motivation a little friendly competition can bring. One of the most overlooked strategies when managing debt is negotiating with your creditors. You'd be amazed at how often companies are willing to work with you, especially if you're struggling to make payments. Here are a few ways you can negotiate your debt. Lower interest rates. Call your credit card company and ask for a lower interest rate. If you've been a loyal customer and have had good payment history, they might be willing to accommodate for you. Settlement offers. In some cases, you'll have significant amount of debt and are unable to make full payments. You can negotiate with a debt settlement where they agree to take a lesser amount in exchange for clearing the debt. Payment plans. If you're behind on payments, ask for a payment plan that better suits your current financial situation. Many lenders are willing to extend your repayment terms, allowing smaller monthly payments for some period of time. Remember, creditors want their money back. They'd rather work with you than have you default. Don't be afraid to ask. Debt is a tough road, but with the right strategies and the right mindset, you can get through it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more content, and drop a comment below of what debt strategies have worked for you. Thank you for tuning in to The Wealth Effect.